we talk about communication. It's really, you got to have a culture of communicating,
Mm.
right? And in my opinion, I think that needs to be communicating deeply and often, just constantly. I don't mean over explaining, but I know that the people that work in the back of the house here are so grateful when we have our monthly all staff meetings, and they are hearing what we're doing in marketing, and they hear about the EDPA conference that just we went to, and that we've got, four new client partners that showed up out of that, and we got to see our vendors, and or there's several people that have booked appointments to come see us in one of our facilities. So there's going to be visitors, right? And they know that's usually a happy day. There's treats and fun stuff that happens when we know we have VIPs coming through. So I think that constant communication. I think we need to lesson very personal right now is creating common language with the staff that we have. So you know, we might say I&D. If you've joined us from an ad agency, I'm not sure you know that means installation and dismantle. I don't think you may not even know everything that encompasses. We used to talk about this with artwork when we're collecting art for large format graphics, and we say, well, your art file has to be a certain size, and it has to be a certain DPI, dots per inch, and if it's you blow that up 800% to a grand format, output size, it's going to be blurry. Oh, we can just res it up. What does any of that mean? Right. So let's make sure that, check yourself. Are we creating a language that everybody understands? Because it becomes a shorthand when you use a term or an expression, and that claws back time
Yeah.
and helps save
I
time.
think
So,
sometimes, Chris, people talk with those terms even as a way of sounding smarter and trying to be like witty or clever or intelligent. And it's just a waste of time. Like, you're not impressing anybody. You don't need to.
I've been that guy in my career
Yeah.
years ago when I was young and dumb.
Yeah, you don't need to
No,
do
it's
that.
true. I can, I used to think particularly, graphics can be such an appreciation for the vendors that manage artwork and get things sized properly, right to a fractional, size. And my knowledge was puddle deep, so I could say, the talking point, and I could ad lib one sentence. But if I was talking with a client's creative director and they got deeper into things, I was in the weeds. So, and you're right. A lot of times that's a defense mechanism. You throw out those techie terms or things to try and sound credible. But in the end, what I learned was put the work in and learn what those terms really mean. And the real value as a servant to your customers is break down the language into words and vocabulary that they can understand. I find analogies help when I do that. And as a leader, it's really helped when, when we're onboarding, training new people, and I can see them nod and not understand the concept of what I'm saying. Okay, well, it's kind of like this, right? And then you're able to share a story in some regard. But I right now the talking and the talking as a team. I don't know about if you've experienced it, but I've seen resistance from really good people in my company at getting back to regular meeting schedules.
Hmm.
We used to have production meetings. They could be 15 or 20 minutes twice a week. And the problem is when they get into meeting creep and you're talking about other things. But if we all should say, no, we're only going to go through what are the projects we're working on today and what's on the radar for the rest of the week. We're just doing a quick update. If there's a problem with something or challenges, then let's have a separate meeting about that. We don't need everybody there. Let's just have the 2 or 3 people that need to be included in that. But I think that's where I'm, so new opportunities meeting, we like to, we like to know what those are and make sure the right leaders, if engineering needs input and field operations needs an input, we try to get, here are the 21 requests that we got this week, and let's go through what they are, and let's decide what we're saying no thank you. Let's assign who's going to be in first chair to those, and I will tell you, it saves you time if you do that. I know when you're getting back to those types of meetings, you think it's just a time suck.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of death by meeting, but I am a fan of clear, crisp, regular communication. And that's what we're really talking about.
Yeah.
By the way, what does it sound like if you've seen people are a little defensive? I'm too busy. Well, you know what? Then you might be the problem. So let's knock that off.
Yeah.
So
I think with meetings, I think those
yeah.
15, 20-minute meetings are crucial. I think they're so valuable. I call them a stand-up meeting. We do them with our team. And just that, we do them twice a week.
That's a great, by the way, I like that. You're going to get tired if we're going to be in there for an hour. So yeah, stand-up meetings are
you stand up and we're just all talking, and you're so right. Sometimes people will kind of hijack the meeting and talk about something that's not necessary, a problem they're having or whatever it is. And something that I recognize is that people were hijacking the meeting because they wanted to be heard, and they wanted to make sure that like they were recognized, that their problems were recognized, that everyone understood what their challenges were. And just creating some additional channels and opportunities for people to be heard outside of those meetings can play a huge impact, right? If you're having a stand-up meeting and it's really clear, hey, this is the only thing we talk about, right? And we go through it every time.
Yeah.
Have those one-on-one conversations outside of the meeting. Schedule a one-on-one proactively. Hey, every other week we have a one-on-one where you can share that with me. Or I just stop by your desk and say, hey, how is this going? How are you doing? Having those opportunities will prevent those hijackings in the future and make that communication much more clear inside of meetings.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's great. One-on-ones are a great way to address stuff when it starts to go off the rail. And again, let's touch base and make sure we understand you understand your duties, your goals, your objectives, and we'll get together as a group. Let's respect each other's time.